And then when I subscribed to their service down there at Highest Praise Productions, it was in January of that year. About 10 months later, the owner of that service called me and said, "Keith, I'm sorry, but we can't host your service anymore because every time you send a message, all of our other users' access slows down so much that they can hardly do anything, and we can't have that many unhappy customers." And I was a little frustrated, but trusting in the Lord, I just began to cast about. And I had trouble with my computer a couple of weeks before that, and so I looked in the yellow pages and found a young man named Dave DeCampa that hosted a computer repair service called Decatech Computers. And I was just attracted to his ad. It was small. There were big color ones that screamed to me big money and all that stuff. And his was just about the size of a newspaper column. So I just went to him, called him up. He said, "Well, you'll have to bring your computer to me. I'm visually handicapped." So I went to his apartment. He lived on the 6th floor. I took it upstairs. Now his basic rate was $60 an hour, and I was a little bit concerned about the potential expense. But I'd been in his apartment for about an hour when he finally asked the question, "Why are you so concerned about your computer? What do you do with it that's so important to you?" And I told him about my email ministry, and he said, "Oh, then you're the first." And I said, "The first what?" And he said, "Well, about 2 months ago, the Lord spoke to my heart and told me that I should help ministries and not charge them. So he fixed my computer for nothing." Well, so we became friends naturally. Anybody who would do all that work, with a base rate of $60 an hour and not charge me a penny, obviously is committed, especially to the Lord, and I was impressed with that. So when Highest Praise Productions called me and said that they couldn't host my system anymore, I called Dave. I just wondered if he might know, and he said, "Well, yes, I think I do. There's a fellow named Jamie Kruger that lives over in Indian Ford, Wisconsin, which is about 13 miles from Janesville here, and he has a service called the $1 a meg a year. He hosts websites." So I called him up, and he said, "Yes, I can help you." He said, what I'd have to do is set up a server for you down in Florida at a server farm." And so I decided to go with him. Highest Praise Productions said that they would serve me for the rest of the year because I had paid for a year. So after the first of the year, I had to do my first fundraising at that time because this new server cost me money, and it came in time. And so the 1st of January I started using that server. Now when I talked to Jamie at first, he told me, "Now you'll have the ability to send 100,000 email messages a day." Well, the first 4 days, I'm not an expert mathematician, but it didn't take a genius to figure this out. I'd click send, and the message would go out to 16,000 people in about 3 minutes. Well, divide 3 into 24 hours and multiply that times 1,600. That's not 100,000. So I called Jamie back, and he said, "Oh, I realized I made a mistake. I was going to call you. I forgot." He said, "You can send a message to 1,000,000 people a day." So I'm really impressed with the ability to grow that I have here. And just during the last 3 years, my subscribers have totally supported this ministry. I put in on an average, about 2 hours a day, putting together prayer requests, formatting the messages, and so on, and answering any questions that I get. But I know the Lord has called me to this, and I've learned a secret that my mother was such a good example to me when I was a child of faithfulness to the Lord. She worked in Sunday school, she helped her friends, did all kinds of things. And something I've learned from this ministry, you look as hard as you can in the Bible, you will not find a single place where the Lord requires that you be successful. He asks that you be faithful. And I've realized if you're faithful, God will take care of the success. And that's the story of my email ministry. When I was sitting at 400 subscribers, if you had told me I'd have 22,000 subscribers within a couple of years, I'd have laughed in your face. I had no imagination what this was going to become. So God has really blessed our family, has opened doors to me in ways that I never expected, but I'm so grateful to Him for doing it.
22,000 subscribers, but you allowed 1 million messages. So if you guys do the math, that's 78,000 more subscribers Keith can handle. The website, Keith encouraged me to put my first website up, my encouraging rhymes for discouraging times. I was totally inspired by Keith, and Keith promoted my site, and it came under a vicious attack from the devil, and I wasn't prepared like Keith, I guess, to take him on. But needless to say, Keith is truly my inspiration. And my new website I'm putting up soon, Keith inspired that again. I like the duplication factor, the way he started small and it just magnified. So I guess the message I'd like to convey to your viewers, Keith, is your subscribers, if they just forward this to everybody in their address book once a week or so, and maybe type a few words, I get these messages on a daily basis, and all you have to do is subscribe, and then they become disciples in themselves by spreading the word, by just offering people an opportunity to come to your site is the way I looked at it. I think I probably brought 30 or 40 people to your website over the years.